What up everybody, it's your boy Nautical back at it with another video, and I wanted to talk to you guys about a question that I'm always asked, and it's why I own all the current platforms, everything from an Xbox One S to a PS4 Pro to a Nintendo Switch to a new 3DS, even a high-end PC. Why are all these things in my household, and why do I find any benefits to having all of them? And that's a really good question, and I always talk about it in my videos, especially when there's opinion pieces about the fanboy war between Xbox One and PS4, and even to an extent Nintendo as a whole. It's more of a subjective thing. It's more of a personal preference. I like to be able to play games when I want to play them. I am in the mindset, if you have the funds, and it's basically really just comes down to that. If you have the means to buy something and you know you're going to enjoy it at one point, then you should make the plunge on it. Now, I don't just go out and buy things just to buy them. I actually talk to my wife about it, and if she gives me the okay, I actually do it. Perfect example is that's how I ended up with my first PS4. When it first launched in 2013, I didn't come home with it on the day it came out. My wife asked me, "Where's your PS4 at?" I was like, "I didn't get it. The Xbox One comes out next week. There's no reason for me to have a PS4 right now. I'll get one when it's more relevant to have one." And she was like, "Well, you're gonna get one. Why don't you just go get it now so you can have it while you have the money?" And I thought about it, and I actually went out the next day and I picked up a PS4, and I had one ever since. I actually gave mine away to my father-in-law when I got my PS4 Pro. And the biggest thing that I want people to know is the reason I did that is because I find it as a benefit to have all the systems. I don't want to miss out on games. If there's a game that I want to play, I'm going to play it. Now, my gaming got really skewed over the last 3 years, like a lot, because I was really infatuated with just one game, and it was Destiny. So that game really cut into the amount of time that I had to put into other games, and that's not just PlayStation games, that's Xbox games too. I used to go really hard at just trying to beat as many games in a year as I could, and Destiny changed a lot of that for me. So I'm really backed up on my backlog on PS4 and Xbox One, on top of all the Switch games I have too. So what is the reason I actually own a PS4 and an Xbox One and everything else? Well, first of all, I'm a tech head. I like new things. I like to be on the cutting edge and the bleeding edge of everything that's relevant in technology. That's why I have this YouTube channel, so I can talk about news and announcements and put up gameplay and just talk about the one thing I love the most, games. And in order to do that, I have to have all systems, or at least to me, I feel like I have to have them. It's not a requirement. It's not even necessary. You just have to understand that there's certain things that you just won't know about because you don't have it. And I am a firm believer that you can't talk about something you don't know. If you don't have it, how can you speak intelligently about what you're actually trying to get people to listen to you in your videos and try to take sides and understand where you're coming from? That is the number one thing that I always preach when I'm talking to people about what I feel like the difference in the systems are. To me, this is why I like the system, but for you, it could be something completely different. It's really personal preference. And ultimately, it comes down to that decision and that decision alone. But for me, a PS4 was definitely in my future. I needed one. I love games like Uncharted. I love games like God of War. And those two games right there, knowing that they were coming to the platform, was going to be the number one reason I got it. I don't have a problem with spending money on a one game system or even two game system. Like I told you in an earlier video, I jumped in the Xbox bandwagon just for one game, which was the original Halo Combat Evolved. And I've been in love with Xbox ever since, because once you get in the door, you find things about that system that you enjoy and you like. And that's why I have an Xbox, and that's also why I have the PlayStation. I barely play my PlayStation. I played it recently for Horizon Zero Dawn. I'll play it when the new Uncharted Lost Legacy comes out, but that's like 4 or 5 times out of the whole year that I will play it. I'll play it when the new Spider-Man comes out next year. I don't treat the PlayStation as my third party box. I treat the Xbox like that because that's where all my friends are. And yes, the Xbox One is not as powerful as the PS4 Pro, but I'm kind of glad I made these decisions on my multi-plats, because a lot of these games are getting patches for the Xbox One X, and I will still have the better version of the game ultimately. So that's why I don't listen to all of the feedback and all the speculations and all of the naysayers when it comes to you need to play your games on the most powerful platform all the time. Well, if that was the case and I was going to do that, I have a high-end PC sitting right next to me that I'm recording on right now, and that gives me the option to play games at any fidelity that I want to. All I have to do is have the parts to do it. I have a beautiful Samsung 1440p ultra widescreen 34-inch monitor sitting right in front of me. First person shooters look amazing on it. When Destiny 2 comes out, I'll be playing it on Xbox One X, and I'll also be playing it on the PS4 Pro. And guess what? I'll be playing it on my PC too. I know it's gonna be kind of crazy, but overall, I want to enjoy what I want to enjoy no matter what. I don't play Diablo on console, I play that on PC, and I enjoy it on PC. I play the crap out of that on PC, and it's so freaking fun. I play Overwatch on Xbox One and on PC. Why? Because I have the ability to do it, plus I have friends on both platforms, but predominantly Overwatch gets played on PC and not Xbox One. And then Destiny, when it was out, I still would play that predominantly on the Xbox One X because that's where my biggest friend base is. And I'll still just dabble with one character on each of the other two platforms to like just get an experience over there too. So there's nothing wrong with owning both systems. It may not be the most financial decision you want to make when it comes to owning them all, because like I said, when it comes down to most of these games, 90% of them are coming to both platforms. You're basically buying the platform of your choice for the 10% of exclusives that only come to that platform. And if you feel like that 10% is worth you owning the system, then get the system when you can. I can understand if people feel like they don't get enough out of the system that they want and they feel like they wasted money on it. My whole thing is, why would you get rid of it unless you just ultimately know that you're never, ever gonna touch it again? And if that was the case, why did you buy it in the first place? A lot of people always talk to me and say, well, I got rid of my Xbox because there were no games, or I got rid of my Xbox because I just didn't like the feel of the controller, or I got rid of my Xbox because all my friends on PS4. And those are all valid reasons for the person that we're talking about. But the only pushback I'll give you is, why did you buy it in the first place? All those things are something that is something you knew going into the system. You already knew if the games that were coming on the Xbox platform were going to be games that you wanted to play. Like I said, 90% of all games come to both platforms. You're talking about the 10% that don't come to any other platform is the ones that you're going to be buying it for. So you have a good understanding of what those games are already. So the fact that you bought one is kind of crazy, because if you're not going to play those games in the first place and you're looking for new experiences for them, you're already doing it wrong. Because I would never buy a system for experiences that I don't even know are made yet. Like I said earlier, when I said I had a PS4 and the reason I had it, it was for Uncharted. It was for God of War. I knew those games were coming. If I didn't know what was next for PS4, I wouldn't go out and buy one. So I feel very comfortable with my PS4 sitting over there waiting for that next big game to come. And then over the course of time, you see what the portfolio is going to look like, you see what's going to come out later, and then you start feeling even better about that purchase because you know more games that you are going to be interested in are coming. Me personally, I was good with it for the 1 or 2 games because I feel like this: the amount of time that you get out of one game that you play is going to be close to how much that system you're probably going to get for it if you tried to sell it. So if you put like 40 hours into a game like Uncharted 4, how much money is that $40 really worth to you? If you got a chance to experience 40 hours of gameplay, think about how much money that equates to when it comes to games in general. So let's just take a $60 game like Uncharted. Most single player games are anywhere from 7 to 12 hours. You spend 40 hours in it, you done already got about what, $240 worth of time in that game. And don't be like a person like me with Destiny that has over 2,400 hours in it. So my Xbox got all of its time paid for with just that one game. And there's probably going to be multiple games that people do that with. So when it comes to just the game argument, I just don't buy it because you know what's coming. And if you're buying a system and not know what's coming, then it's your fault for buying a system like that. And you should really start thinking a little bit better about your purchasing decisions before you jump in, because it's not the system's fault that you want to get rid of it. It's your fault for buying something that you really didn't know anything about. And just to move on, like I said, I own a Nintendo Switch too. And when it comes to Nintendo stuff, that is mostly for my family. Now, I am a huge Mario Kart person and I love The Legend of Zelda. So those games I actually did buy for me. But Mario Kart is mostly a family thing. I have bought extra Joy-Cons because there's 4 of us so we can all race together. My daughter is really good at it and she really beats on me every time I play her, and it's kind of sad sad, but I buy that just for the family. I have a 3DS. I let my daughter get the 3DS, so she uses that most of the time, and I don't really get any use out of it, but it's here because I know they enjoy it, just like the Nintendo Switch. When I don't play it, I know they're enjoying it. I know my wife plays it, and she does all these cool things on it, and it's just fun to have something around like that because it's one less person trying to take something away from me. It just makes it a lot easier for everybody to enjoy the games they want to enjoy when you have everything available for you to play on. So guys, this isn't something that is needed. Like I said earlier, you don't have to own every system. It's a preference thing, and my preference is to be able to talk about these different platforms, to be able to say that I can play these games if I need to play them, so I can have a really good dialogue about the information that's in them that I can share with you guys on a day-to-day, week-to-week, year-to-year basis. And that's something I like doing, and this helps me do it by owning all these systems. But overall, it's only if you enjoy those systems in the first place. If you don't even go out and buy them. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to go out and buy Xbox One X's that aren't going to like them, and the only reason they're buying them is because they're in the hype of the power. And the only way I would actually invest in an Xbox One X, if you're a Sony fan and all you like is Sony games, is if you want to switch over your multi-plat to play on the Xbox One X. And that's perfectly fine because that's what a lot of people did when it came to PS4 Pro. They bought the Pro because it was more powerful than anything else. And it wasn't because any exclusive game was on the system. It was just that the PlayStation 4 Pro had exclusive power. Now the Xbox One is going to have exclusive power. So if you want to come back over to the Xbox side, that's perfectly fine. But don't do it unless you are willing to understand that the only reason you're doing it is for third-party games, not because of the first party. Because remember, you really don't like Microsoft first-party games. You really just want to be in it for the third party. And if you're willing to think like that and actually understand that that's why you're buying the system, it makes it easier for you to validate that $500 purchase or that $300 purchase when it came to the Xbox One and the PS4. It just makes it so much enlightening that you will understand and not have any problems with it going forward. But guys, what do you think? How many of the systems do you own? Do you own all the major platforms currently out now? Tell me in the comment section so we can have a conversation about it. Also, what do you think is the #1 reason people hate on other consoles? That is a really big question that I want answered, because lately it just seems like it's been a resolution war. It's been, well, you said that this system was going to be this and it's not that. People are just all over the spectrum with this, and I just want to get some type of dialogue so I can understand where my community is getting the information from and what they think about it. Let's talk about that in the comment section too. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you sub to the channel if you haven't. Turn on those notifications. It's going to let you know the next time my videos go live. It's your boy Nautical. You guys have a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.